Hey, what is going on, my dudes? Welcome to the video. Today we're going to be talking briefly about using aim assist to really boost your especially long-range aim in the game. There was a lot of responses to my latest video, the 32 kill solo squad game that I was using an aimbot. I am, in fact, not using an aimbot. Epic doesn't like that very much, and they happen to sponsor my channel. But what I usually do is I actually use a little bit of the aim assist auto rotation to my advantage. Still requires considerable aiming ability, but it also just kind of gives you that little extra boost. And if you time it well with first shot accuracy, you're going to have a good time. You're going to have a very good time using a controller to play Fortnite. Obviously, this only works with a controller. Keyboard and mouse, you don't have aim assist, so this trick is not really relevant to the majority of PC players. So just to demonstrate a few topics in this video before we actually get into the technique of using this aim assist to really boost your AR aim at range, just want to touch on like a few topics really quickly that are necessary to understand before you can actually get into practicing this trick. So the first one is pretty obvious to most people, is the first shot accuracy. So when you're shooting and you see that your crosshair shrinks up to being non-existent, so you can see it happen right there, that means that your shot is going to be dead on. So like if I have first shot accuracy and I shoot this llama, shoot him right in the dome. But when you're just shooting, basically your bullet can land anywhere within those crosshairs, right? So see all that spread on the screen? My bullet could land anywhere there. Now, when you're crouching and you're sat still for a while, the moment that you ADS, you can see your first shot accuracy coming back very quickly. So that's very important in this technique, is actually being crouched when you're taking your shots, because you get that first shot accuracy basically right away. Now, you do leave yourself a little bit more vulnerable. You're a little easier to be sniped because you're not moving as much. You're not staying as mobile. But if you're trying to just pluck shots at range or even the mid-range, this technique works outstandingly. Would not recommend doing it in close quarters because you'll just be a sitting duck. Once you're in close quarters, movement is a lot more important on your end to not getting dunked on. But at range, this technique works fantastically. The other two things I want to talk about is aim assist auto rotation and aim assist slowdown. Aim assist slowdown is not really that important in the context of this video, but it is something cool to understand. So when you're aiming, say this tree right here is a guy, or actually we'll say this barrel. So aim assist slowdown. So see when I'm aiming past him, it just kind of it's consistent, right? It's solid. But if this was aim assist slowdown, when I hit the barrel, it would slow down like that and then keep going. So we'd do that, and then we'd speed up again. It'd be better to actually do this with a person, but I forgot to do it when my buddies were in the game. But basically, as you aim onto the person, it slows down drastically and then speeds up again as you get back off of them. It allows you to tease out your shots much more easily with the joystick. People kind of complain about aim assist on controllers, I think, without really understanding the actual situation. If you were to aim with a joystick in comparison to a mouse and keyboard, where you can use literally your whole desk as your surface area to tease your shots out with, versus that's how much distance you have to tease your shots out with, most games would not really work. The only console game I can think of off the top of my head, and feel free to let me know in the comments if you can think of others, is Rainbow Six Siege. Did not have an aim assist system in it, but it worked because that game was highly competitive and it was very close quarters, so you didn't really need that much of an aim assist. The other form of aim assist is aim assist auto rotation, and that is the focus of this video. When you're aiming at range and you press L2 to aim down sight, basically it drags right on to the person's body, and I'm going to have some good examples of that when I actually get into the playground with my buddies later on in this video. So aim assist auto rotation and first shot accuracy are going to be the two main mechanics you're going to be using to hit these long range AR shots. I'm here with the sponsor squad, the Trap House. We're showing off basically the aiming mechanic that I use in game You can call it like aim assist cheese. You can call it whatever you want, but basically it's a way where you can use aim assist to your advantage if you're playing with a controller. And it's honestly, it requires a considerable amount of aiming skill, but once you get to that certain level, you can kind of elevate your game to a point where you're hitting 70 to 80% of your shots at range for at least body shots, which is kind of absurd. And basically it's got to do with the aim assist auto rotation effect that's in the game. So I'm going to aim at ES or S550 right here. So if I'm tapping, just stand still, yes. If I'm tapping my left trigger right now to ADS, I'm a few pixels over to the left of him on screen. But if I gradually move over just a little bit, so right there, you can see me dragging to his body. And I'm dragging like directly onto his head. Or wasn't his head, but that hit for 28, right? So it's basically a way if you're tracking your target and you're very, very on, a little bit of L2 tapping will give you that dead accuracy. Now, the timing you need is to not only time the aim assist with the ADS spamming while tracking your target, but it's also good to time it with first shot accuracy, because even if you're spamming L2, the blue mechanic in this game, like, you're never going to hit your shot if you're just constantly spamming. So it's all about that rhythm of timing your shot with your first shot accuracy with the ADS spam. And it's also really important to stay crouched in this situation. I will say that if you're playing like in a comp, you're probably not going to want to do this technique too much, because you have to stay pretty exposed. You're kind of sitting still for the most part because you're trying to get that first shot accuracy. If there's a lot of good players on your server and you're doing this, you will get sniped. But for the purpose of just stomping pubs and going for those high kill games, this strategy works like really, really well. So, Mark, if you could just start running like to the east, I can show what it's like at range with movement. So I potatoed, and he got behind the cover. But I almost had him. There we go. He's one hit. But it's just a pretty strong strategy for just dropping bodies basically at range. A lot of people have been asking about how I do this. A lot of people have been accusing me of aimbot in my high kill videos from doing this. But it's simply just a mechanic in the game that allows you to gain an advantage. And my logic is that because any player on the server who's using aim assist can do this, and let's be honest, nobody turns off their aim assist. Why would you turn off your aim assist? You're putting yourself at a disadvantage. You're making it harder for yourself in comparison to everybody else who's running it on. And this is just one way you can take advantage of this. A lot of like really great controller players, Nick Merckx uses this technique, Josh Bodies uses this technique, and people are kind of using it sort of subconsciously a lot of the times, I find. ES is looking out for that first shot accuracy right now, building the wall. But it's always solid, and like it basically gives you aimbot, right? So it's kind of nasty. Try it out.